Welcome everybody to MC Tune Live. That is the Christmas intro that I play in December. Today I have with me Meny Karen, who watched a Flurf convention in Israel and has a response to it. How you doing, Meny?
Hi. Yeah. Hello, everyone. So first of all, I'll give myself a short introduction, if that's okay, Tune?
Of course.
So first thing out of the way, Shalom, Korim li Meny. Hello, my name is Meny. I am Israeli, I am Jewish, and originally I'm a Hebrew speaker. אני ישראלי, אני יהודי, ושפת האם שלי היא עברית. And Tune, you know how you always ask, like, you'd like to know stuff about our religion, right? Like, we find stuff. So you've probably come across the term mitzvah, which is one of our most, actually, you need like 4 or 5 words to get mitzvah in Hebrew into an English word. There's actually no way of getting all of it down pat. But among other things, it is definitely a religious ordinance. So everything that Judaism commands one to do is a mitzvah. And Tune, have you ever heard of a mitzvah called Pidyon Shvuim? So this is one of the most basic things in Judaism, the redeeming of, the ransoming of captives, Pidyon Shvuim. And ransoming captives is a Jewish precept and has been one of the most important ones for, like, I don't know, thousands of years. Nuriel can tell you exactly since when, and there just so happened to be these 100 actually captives, or maybe 101 right now, and I actually don't live that far away south of where they are. And I'm kind of sad about that. And I don't have a yarmulke, so I'm not like an observant Jew or whatever you'd like to call that. But if you maybe want to put on a yellow ribbon or something, people, if you have something yellow to add, so we can get those people back. And never mind everything else, I'm not here about politics, and we're going to move on to Flurf, and we're going to have fun, but I had to get the priesthood out of the way, still Jewish, and we still need these people back. So let's start the fun, and it's called Pidyon Shvuim, and now you know something about Judaism, and it's just, it's a religion. What can I do? So back to the bullshit. Sorry, I never said that on your channel. That word was never spoken. That's it. And we will not be swearing more. Never, ever tonight. And we will not be saying dick flute either while we're at it.
No dick flutes.
Okay, so guys, I'm gonna try and get through this, and my English is okay, but hopefully my voice is a bit, and we're late. Ugh. Okay, Toon. I'm going to use, you always talk about an angulometer, right? And something-ometer. Okay, so I'm going to try and use you as a derpometer, and perhaps your audience would like to take part in this interesting challenge. So could you write down a few things for me? And starting with the title, because I claim to have watched actually from home, the Nouriel downloaded, the Derpiest. Oh my God, the most compacted 16 minutes of pure. Okay, so I need you with a paper, and we're going to start with the title of the so-called Derpiest lecture. And Toon, you will decide how derpy this sounds, okay? So, title is The Space Model as a Form of Abuse. Now, Toon, you're going to have to write the level of derp you think we're at right now next to that. And we'll see how derpy we get. Now, people, let me mention that I actually went to a friend of mine who is an astrophysicist, and although he's Israeli, he's also an American citizen, and is currently, is it pronounced Goddard, Toon?
Yeah.
Right, NASA? So from all evil places, he's studying at NASA now. He's doing research there, although he's not actually employed there. And there is no such thing as a space model, okay? So the first part of the title is a thing that does not exist. And that is apparently this non-existent space model is abuse, okay? How derpy are we now? Let's see. What else? Space. So what is the space model? Well, apparently this is what you believe in, Toon, okay? So just a few scientific facts, okay, write down. Please, the universe does in fact have a center, okay? And remember, you're a derpometer, so we'll have to see what we wrote down and how derpy we're getting, right?
Yep.
So the universe has a center. You live at the most horrible, God-forgotten wasteland of a place somewhere far, and that's actual science, right? And you live far, far in the corner, a tiny, tiny planet no one cares about, okay? And this is science, right? You believe this. And also, let me remember, what else did we have? Ah, yes, of course. It's moving around with this, spinning around this, and Toon, it's an entire mess which nobody can understand. This is science. Also, science has gone to each and every possible planet, Toon, and has found no life yet. Are you following the derp?
Yes.
How derpy are we now? How is your derpometer? And we're not yet through the first, say, 3 minutes of describing space. How are you? Is this what you actually believe in?
No. Every single planet?
Yes, we've been to them all.
That's what...
Yes, that's what she says science claims. Yes.
Wow.
Would you like to try some more?
Oh, yes.
Well, what would you say if at the end of the lecture she declares, perhaps you have heard? Now, I'm not trying to criticize religion right now, but perhaps someone's heard of this concept that if you do not have, say, a deity, then you cannot tell between good and evil, or perhaps true or false, such as if someone has heard of presuppositional apologetics, which is one way of defending Christianity. I'm not trying to point fingers. This is not the actual topic. But as religions go, you claim they're a religion, right? Well, she actually says that if you don't know the earth is flat, you cannot tell right from wrong, truth from lie, and you're just completely lost in total relativism. That's where you've always lived, right, Tune? You right now have no truths. And that's like almost the end. Now, let me just add that this is the entire thing. How derpy are we now? Your derpometer is filmed on a friggin' potato and has the worst sound quality like ever. And Tune, please, I've been told by you that you do not swear, right? You don't swear. That's why Charlie Duke was his name, right? He didn't swear on a Bible ever, that he was in space.
Well, I don't know if he was asked or not, but yeah.
You said something about a Christian never swears, right?
So there's different definitions for swear. One being saying
not
a
swear, but as in take
curse.
An oath.
Take an oath. Yeah,
in the Bible.
Yeah. So in the book of Matthew, Jesus says that you should not swear on anything. Just let your yes be yes and your no be no.
Okay, so as I've just taught him something about Judaism, yes be yes, no be no, is I heard as Tune's explanation for actually technically flirts should be correct. An astronaut who is an actual Christian should never have sworn in the Bible, should never have taken an oath. So we're good. If none have, well, at least they're good Christians, but not necessarily liars. And I think that's the conclusion, Tune, right?
Yes.
So when this entire debacle ends, the last two words are great job, heard by the person coming on stage just before she go down and tells her that this has been a great evening. Okay, Tune, the word is me'ule in Hebrew, sorry, and that means like splendid, wow, great job. So how derpy are we? And the last bit is this, guys, before I move on to the actual thing. Get this. She claims to help me out here. When you watch Wikipedia, what's the background? What color is it? The background of Wikipedia, as far as you're concerned. Choose the color.
Gray?
Would you say white is one possible way of saying it, that Wikipedia has a white background?
It could be. I'm colorblind, so I don't remember color.
Okay, well, right, I forgot. It's you. Oh no, am I not asking help? Oh, I'm floundering here. This entire evening, I'm working with a colorblind person, and I just need... Okay, but you do see black, right? Help me.
I see colors. Right? I see colors, but because I've gotten burned by it, I don't remember colors very much.
So this would be a good time, if I haven't said so already. I have a BA in psychology. Now, I love physics and math and stuff from this guy who teaches his kids, and wow, he's good at what he does. And I do I don't know, I've studied some psychology. I sort of may have abused a few rats somewhere down the point, but that's somewhere down my journey. But hey, we're not getting into that. And if there were such rats, well, then they're dead. So moving on. Anyway, where were we? Help me out. So we said that the evening was great, and now for the derpiest thing. Okay, so technically, can I say that Wikipedia is white?
Yes.
And the font is actually sort of like black?
Yeah.
So technically, it's still black on white, like the expression, right?
Yeah.
And Tune, I'm not exactly, I do have some tech savvy. I'm not yet a flirt, but help me out. You would usually see like Wikipedia on a monitor or a screen. Am I right about that one?
Yep.
Well, she also has a Wikipedia page, which is the one thing she gets correct in the entire lecture, and is what we all still need to know, and is the whole thing we came to hear tonight. The abuse. We haven't heard about the abuse. We've heard all the stupid part. Now for the abuse. And the abuse, she actually reads an entire Wikipedia page in the middle of the lecture. That's her source. She reads it entirely badly, I might say. And at a certain point, she goes like, wait, what's written? Oh yeah, over there. In the middle of the lecture, and on a white background, so behind her is a white cloth, And you know what she calls Wikipedia? She says, this is a Wikipedia page. How do you say? Black on computer. Now, dude, how much derp has this woman put into 16 minutes so far before we get into something really interesting? How is your derpometer yet, Toon?
It sounds pretty crazy.
Okay.
So far, I didn't get this last this wiki page reference though.
Tell me something. Is Wikipedia black on computer, or actually could she have said black on white?
Yeah.
Because it's not a computer, it's either a monitor or a screen.
Yeah.
The computer is the other one.
She called it the computer.
The background is white. Plus it's displayed on a white cloth behind her, like hanging down, you know what I mean? I can't remember the name right now. Those screens you pull down, yeah, and that's also white. And she still gets even that most basic thing that has nothing to do with flat Earth. Wikipedia is black on computer, people. So enough. That was the derpiest lecture ever, okay? I think we can establish the first. Tell me, as my derpometer, have I established the fact that I did in fact watch the derpiest lecture ever, at least in my life?
I think it's you're making a case for it for sure.
Okay, I think again, it's my life, and I can always say, hey, it's my life. Trust me, it is. But I think by this point, you believe me, and people, I'm so sorry, it's in Hebrew. You're never gonna watch it. I'm gonna make videos in Hebrew, maybe one in English. We'll see, but you can't actually watch the thing, so I've tried. Now for the really good part. So, like I've said so far, she starts by describing this horrible, like barely a straw man. Soon you're probably familiar with the expression, that's not even wrong.
Yes.
She actually claims that space is an entire big mess, which nobody can understand. It's like, she says, under la musia. And if Nuriel was here, it's like mayhem and then chaos. No, Toon, is that actually the space as you know it, as astrophysicists know it, like a big mess? No. It's even better. He claims as soon as you start thinking of this spinning mess, you're getting hypnotized. Just by thinking about it, because it spins. Now, and here's an interesting question for you people. Start thinking. And again, I'm giving her explanation of how she was abused, like us, into believing science, but not even real science. Her ultra derpy werpy version of science.
Yeah.
She thinks that's reality, and she was abused into believing that reality. And now she is recovering, and she's about to explain which abuse. And let's start by noting that, no, actually, a mess is not how you hypnotize people. Actually, you hypnotize them with something very orderly, something that has a pattern and repeats. Now, stay tuned. If you had to pick something as hypnotic, would that be the mess of space that she just made up and doesn't exist in any kind of way in any science book ever? Or would it be the god darn it, no, gosh darn it, Christian, you can't do that. The gosh darn it voice of Mr. Eric Dubay. If I had to ask you, honestly, how did she get the idea that space is a big mess? We'll just see. But she thinks she was convinced, and that is abuse, and it's hypnotism. But which is more hypnotic, Toon? What would you say? 200 Proofs by Eric Dubay, or imagining a whole big friggin' mess with whatever? What would you say is...
Dubay's delivery is absolutely textbook cult indoctrination style.
Exactly. So how is she so wrong that she even claims her made-up mistake that is nowhere even close to mistake. It's not even a parody of what we'll believe. It's barely a straw man. A center? Where? Where's the center of the universe, Tune? Who knows?
Yeah,
you
we
know
don't.
where
Yeah.
She said we're at the end of the universe, like nobody cares about us. Who? She said there are also no aliens.
I wonder if
Who's
she thinks.
forgotten us?
I wonder if she got mixed up with a galaxy, because like there's a center to our galaxy, and we're on the edge of it, sort of. I guess maybe.
So do you
I don't
know
know
something? Do you know who did say we're at the unfashionable end of the galaxy? Do you know that, Tune?
Was that?
People,
Yeah.
you can tag Tune with the name of the book as quick as you can. Let's see who gets it before Tune does. Who said?
I have
her.
And
she thinks it's science.
I have
end of the galaxy.
I have all 6 books of the trilogy on the in the room here.
Okay, so he has 6, and I've never read 5 and 6, but at home I have the 4 in 1. And you know what? I only discovered that it's actually about atheism, like maybe 6 years ago. After reading it for a million times, I did not get the atheism. Do not ask me why. I'm a moron. Anyway, has anyone got the book yet? Tune, give me a name. You said you'd look.
Hitchhiker's Guide. Dark Star 4400.
Well, actually, please explain to me, how is it that she actually thinks somebody hypnotized her into something out of Douglas Adams as science? How is that abuse? And Tune, if we know something about Flurf, she claims there's some kind of abuse. Who did it to her? Who was it?
Who abused her? It was Dubé. It was Dubé.
No. Forget Dubé for a second. The whole point is, who taught her this evil space thing? Who?
Nobody did. Nobody.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
But she also will never tell you because she says I was abused, and it might have been the government or your parents, or maybe it was scientists.
Yeah.
But she will never actually do 2 things. One, who did it and where and why? There are no details and ever faceless day. And second, she really, what's the motive? Oh, they want to hide God. I'm sorry, Tune, but come on, enough. How many times have we heard this?
It hasn't worked very well.
Okay, so she's convinced that we're hypnotized into utter nonsense, and yet they're all repeating the same message. So she's getting something very, very backwards, right?
Yeah.
So what if we look at the entire thing she's going to describe, which I'm getting to now, backwards? And she thinks soon she's explaining us. Let's look. I'll tell you what she said, and you tell me who's being explained. When she starts talking about something called, Tune, have you heard of a movie called Gaslight?
I had not heard of it before you mentioned it. And it's pretty old.
Gaslighting.
Is it pretty old?
It's very old, and I've never seen it. But have you ever heard of gaslighting?
Yes.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, the abuse she claims happened, although I do believe that she has a somewhat very unique understanding of the term, is from the abuse known as gaslighting, which people, please, it's mostly a colloquial first, and only then go and look at something what we've learned of, like we've had cases of it being done to a person in reality, exactly as in the movie, to get some insurance, and sometimes it's used for spousal abuse of some kind. But please start being careful in calling everybody gaslighting. And regardless, I'm gonna focus on her gaslighting, which again, Tune, she claims you and I are the victims, and yet she not only made up the abuse, well, perhaps the abuse exists because it's technically gaslighting, which is sort of a thing, but when, who, where, we were not taught this. So who was? And actually, you're the hypnotized one. Aren't you all the ones repeating the exact same stuff? So what's happening? Now tell me, Tune, I have a question for you. The movie Gaslight, have you seen perhaps what the basic concept is of that movie? Because I've never seen it either.
No.
So, it involved a man who wants to drive his wife insane. So he basically gets her inside the house, and it's originally a play, by the way. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. I can use words. Okay. Diction go. Okay, so where were we? Yes, words, and he gets her into her house, and basically he tells everyone, hey, she's resting, she's getting better, something happened. She's not prepared to talk about it, so nobody contact us. Basically, again, I've never seen the movie, and nobody correct me because I'm basically trying to get the idea and not the plot. So we're not going, it's a colloquialism anyway. Please don't correct me. Don't at me, whatever you say here. So what he does is once everybody accepts the fact that she's resting and there's no need to worry, he starts playing with the gaslight because they have a gaslight. And with the gaslight, he starts to gaslight or gaslighting her. And there was no such word. Gerund, right? It's a gerund. Am I correct? Is my English good?
A gerund.
Gaslighting, I think, is called a gerund of gaslight, but never mind. We're not getting into more grammar than I know. And anyway, the verb did not yet exist.
Yes.
The whole point is that he was starting to dim the lights or turn them on and off as she was moving through the house, playing with the gaslight. And then as soon as she starts asking him what's going on, he pretends not to know. And slowly he hopes that even when he's not around, she'll slow down her basic reality. She will keep on driving herself completely and utterly insane. All he has to do is give her that one push. And Toon, that's what she claims happened to you. Somehow, somewhere, no one knows when or who exactly, for a very strange reason. Do you believe in God, Toon, by any chance?
Yeah.
A God?
Yeah.
Well, she claims that God was hidden from you by you being exposed.
It didn't work.
Okay.
Yeah.
And somehow you were set down. Listen to this. This is what she claims is gaslighting and was done to you. Someone put you in front of some sort of person, and slowly you became convinced that you had to trust this person. At first, listen to this. You thought what he was saying, she's saying that happened to you, right? Remember me? That's her explanation of a glober. At first you said, nah, this person is lying to me. I've been told things my entire life. This person, have you ever heard someone say this tune ever on one of her debates? But then I realized slowly, she says your doubts were ameliorated. She claims that's what happened to you. And slowly you started saying, wait a minute. They were lying to my senses are lying to me. Yes, actually the ground is moving. That's what she claims, how you were convinced that there's a moving ground. And definitely not how she was convinced to start repeating really weird lies that technically should not exist because they're not science. So how come you were abused into them by somebody with a hypnotic voice? Or could it be that what she calls gaslighting was done to her by the first person who gaslighted her in the exact ways she repeats now? She says you need repetition. You need the person to be isolated and completely to trust the one in front of him with truth. He wants to be like a child, ignorant, and will be fed. And that's how she describes you, Toon. That's why you as the child wanted to believe gravity. And that's why you're here tonight believing in the center of the universe? No, you don't. And yet she repeats the process of what? Toon, Have you ever heard, and remember, this is the Flat Earth Convention. You know how they go in Alcoholics Anonymous tune?
Yep.
Right? Somebody says, and this happens in every Israeli convention. Hello, my name is Meny. I've known the earth was flat when discovering the utter truth, and everybody goes,
Hi, Meny. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But that's Alcoholics Anonymous, right? So that's positive reinforcement. You know that what that is. But wait a minute, Alcoholics Anonymous, at least technically, are not trying to abuse you and reinforce that you're, oh my God, you're an alcoholic, go hide. No, they're trying to reinforce good. And now that you know that, we can help you get it under control. So maybe they're using positive reinforcement. Maybe you're sort of using methods that could be used for indoctrination, but for perhaps with criticism and everything, getting people better. What do you think, Toon? In Alcoholics Anonymous, is it okay to reinforce, I've been an alcoholic and I've been sober? Is that a good reinforcement? What do you think as a person?
I think so. I mean, I have limited experience.
Okay, and what if I was reinforcing something like 8 inches per mile? Yes, that's the curvature. Yes, it is. Good. Everybody. And water doesn't curve. Everybody says water doesn't curve. And everybody says, what would they be reinforcing then?
Yeah. Water seeks it, blah. What's the deepest hole that's ever been dug?
But wait,
what about airplanes?
But she says repetition was how we were taught again and again. Gravity, gravity, gravity. Until you started thinking something like, I stick to Australia, but somehow, listen to this, she claims, no way of demonstrating other than magnetism, gravity on Earth. So somehow you still know the Cavendish happened, yet she's right. And and you're the one who was abused and hypnotized. Now tell me, Toon, what if every flirt at some point in his life met someone she would term as a gaslighter, right? I've just explained her understanding of gaslighting, right? Of abuse. One gaslighter, perhaps innocent, and one gaslightee met in a YouTube video, and the gaslightee responded like this: no, the earth can't be flat. Well, I was taught it was a ball and you can't feel the motion because, well, you just can't. And you have to stick to the bottom, although it doesn't make sense. South, you moron, it's south. Never mind. Sorry. Anyway, you stick to the bottom. I'm sorry, I'm doing an accent. I'm not accent shaming. I'm sorry. I'll stop.
I'm not picking up on it, an accent.
Okay. Never mind. That never happened. If I was, ignore me. Anyway, so basically what I'm trying to say is, have you heard this speech? And then I woke up to the truth, and I'm not a sheep like you. Because you're still repeating it. But I've seen a million videos of that person until I realized everything he says is true. Everything.
Yeah.
Now tell me, Toon, can you give a name? Do we actually have a theoretical name already placed for this original gaslighter? Because every flirt will repeat the gaslighter, and we'll either know who gaslighted him first, or we'll repeat his model of the flat earth, which is actually, according to her, I'm not saying that's in the actual psychological literature, but according to her, this is abuse. This will give you a skewed understanding of reality. That's what she says, which you will later pay a great price and you will ignore. Just remember the debate you came from. She says, as you've been gaslighted by this person. Wait, but just 1 second. Just 1 second.
He's talking to somebody off camera.
No. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm actually hiding here, and I found this Wi-Fi because I tend to yell. That's why I don't have a voice. And right now, a very important and very dear person has appeared, and she works here. And she technically had no idea I was here, but it's always open, so I'm not doing anything somehow wrong, but she was wondering, like, what the hell the guy's talking about, and why someone's speaking English. Oh, what's happening here? So now we know. This is a kibbutz, by the way, if you want to know, which technically, if anybody wants to yell, damn commie, well, there you go. I am technically living on a commune.
Is that what a kibbutz is?
Well, technically, it's it's almost already just any other small town or something, like, and small is like really, 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 like this, like not a town, like a church, as opposed to like size, because we have 9 million people. In the entirety of Israel, there are 9 million people. I think you have slightly more, like, in the back alley of your city than 9 million people, but that's our entire country, okay? And I live in a small place, but yes, this used to be a commune. Or if any of you, like Vadim or something, any of the Slav-speaking people around, as I told Gena, I'm moving to somewhere. I can't name the place. And he says, is that as south as Elat? And I said, no, it's more to the north. Is it Beersheba? No. So what is it? It's a kibbutz. And then he said, okay, Slav people, he said, kibbutz, kolchoznik bliet. And you don't have to know what that was, but if there's a Slav not laughing now, then my Russian is even worse than I thought, because I'm not a Russian speaker, but that was a joke. So that was the person I was talking to. And kolchoz, or as we say, kolchoz, is sort of where I live. If it was Russia, like Soviet Union Russia, but like it's not, but that's the hell version that they had. So that's close to where I live, and it's kind of like a commune, but not anymore. There you go. Now you know everything, and you still, what? Exactly. And I've been living here for 21 years, and I don't get it either. So moving on. Anyway, so what, do you have a name for this original hypothetical gaslighter who was the first person you bought into his, and were then convinced that whatever he spews out of his mouth is sheer, not even religion, it's the science? Who would you call that person in your model of flat Earth?
That's Eric Dubé. Or do you mean Papa Flurf?
Papa Flurf. Doesn't matter. Every Flurf has, according to her own explanation of us, a Papa Flurf. Our they isn't, if we were explaining flat Earth with her understanding of us, we would actually know who they are. They are not faceless. They are Eric Dubé. They are David Weiss. They are Austin Whitsitt. They are Samuel Robotham. We actually have faces for these, perhaps, gaslighters. According to her understanding of the term, apparently so, who somehow got her in a room. Now, has anyone noticed something that happened a few years ago, like, say, 4 years, where they got everybody into one room and said, listen, you can't come out here now. Damn it, words. You cannot come out right now because there's an epidemic. So we actually, because of an epidemic, whether happening or not, secluded people. Like she said, you need a person secluded and cut off from society. And the one person in front of him, like I'm sitting in front of you, and she's standing in front of an audience, is the only information around. And think when what that was, when suddenly there was a spike in every possible conspiracy theory. And that my people were the quarantines during the corona, when there was this last one little spike in flat Earth or anti-vax, not necessarily because they started making sense, but because she does get something right. There is something called anomia, and that's how we pronounce it, but it's basically maybe anomia, which is not from my discipline, so I'm sorry. It's from sociology. I haven't studied that. But it's basically if I put Tune in quarantine and I show him flat Earth videos, and there's no one else around to go, hey, what do you think of this? And he goes, you're seriously listening to that, Tune? And immediately the spell is broken, right, Tune? But now there's a quarantine on, and there's no one to say, you'll never guess what I watched. And suddenly maybe it makes more sense because there's no one around. So could the entire flat Earth be explained at least by her version of gaslighting? I can even give more examples. I can even find motives, because they claim, what is their motive? She says it was to hide God. Dude, is that a logical motive? Does that actually So who got him to repeat a completely idiotic Oh yeah, Papa Flurf did, right? Papa Flurf even convinced her of the silliest motive ever, and she's repeating it to herself. And get this, she claims, and actually this has been proven in real gaslighting, you have to first see someone else doing it to learn the indoctrination technique from your Papa Flurf, so you can spread the Papa Flurf them on and either become the new Austin Whitsitt, a Papa Flurf in his own right.
Yeah.
With so many children, Tune, are you proud? Or Papa Flurf earning $400,000 or so? How much was it that my beloved brother David Weiss did? My Jewish brother. Oh yes, about 400,000. Would that be correct, Tune? Am I ballpark?
Yeah. If he sold, no, more than that, I think. But he says that there are 200,000 users, but that's a lie. But if there is, yeah.
Here's what I'll settle for. Tell me if I'm wrong. After we've written down how derpy that whole thing was, if I were to claim that actually he would have a lot to gain, and he has a very obvious space, plus a motive, plus he already has proven that motive by actually selling an app, which is making money by repeating lies and even debunked lies, and they're reinforcing them, and you've debunked them yourself, and he's still reinforcing them. And she said repetition. She thinks you have, but no, they've had that. Water doesn't curve. The debate you just came from, she says you have to deny reality. You're presented with reality and you have to go, nope, I prefer the gaslight reality I've been given. I want to trust the beloved gaslighter, my Papa Flurf, and I will ignore reality to keep trusting him because he feeds me truth, and then I'm a child. And it's Papa Flurf who will tell me everything. And I've been convinced that so long as I listen to Papa Flurf, spread on the Flurfdom, and we all clap, I've been a Flurf, and she says her life has been improving. Do you remember Speak Truth, Speak Truth?
Yep.
How much has his life improved? And he found truth when he joined Flat Earth, and according to her, got better. And she also claims Nuriel had to hear this. Emet mi'eretz titzmach. Truth from land, or maybe country, or maybe the ground, or eretz, very complicated word, will grow. And this, he will tell you, Nuriel, where that is from. I won't be able to, but it's from the Bible, our Bible, our Tanakh.
Nuriel is listening. Just he
okay, Nuriel, can you please send the source in English? Find which psalm or anything and tag Tune, so maybe you can hear how Emet mi'eretz titzmach is in Hebrew, in English, sorry. But basically she's claiming that this ancient, I think it's Psalms, but Nuriel, you're the religious guy. I get to be wrong sometimes. I finished studying this when I was in 12th grade. And Tune, you're 13, and I'm not even your age. I'm not 13 yet, but I don't remember 12th grade all that well. Sorry, 11th. 11th grade, but I'm not yet 13. Okay, I'm not even your age. Anyway, she claims that means once you've found the earth is flat and unmoving, relativism is gone. You have now the fixed, what do you call it? No, frame of reference. Okay, nekudat yichus, sdei yichus, yachas, relation. Our ultra-Orthodox get this about Hebrew. Yichus is like in Einstein's relativity, but if an ultra-Orthodox says yichus, it means which family you're from, who are your relatives. That means how much of a good wedding you're gonna get, a shidduch, like what kind of husband you have, what kind of wife. Like relativity is yachasut, is your yichus. That's your where you came from. Those are the same word in Hebrew, just so you know.
So we have, he said Psalm 86, and then just a couple verses at the end.
In English, let's see what it says. Find your favorite translation.
All right.
And yes, we know there's more than one.
Yes. All right. Arrogant.
We're not flirts. It doesn't have to be King James. It really doesn't.
I know.
It can be an NIV. Yes, our red letter Bible, and will survive tune. Just pick the one you like, whichever's one in your church, which is, remember, some kind of evangelist. You've never elaborated, but I do believe someone runs a YouTube channel, which I think is his way of doing what we call mitzvah. Because I think it does it without getting paid, but I'm not going to say anymore now, because you're not supposed to embarrass the person either. So tune, read us in English. Emet mi'eretz titzmach. While I'm moving around, I have ADHD. I've been sitting down. Read.
Okay. Arrogant foes are attacking me, O God. Ruthless people are trying to kill me. They have no regard for you. But you, Lord, are a compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness. Turn to me and have mercy on me. Show your strength in behalf of your servant. Save me because I serve you, just as my mother did. Give me a sign of your goodness, that my enemies may see it and be put to shame. For you, Lord, have helped me and comforted me.
So I have no idea where she found in that psalm or other, or maybe we got the wrong one, but that was about winning battles and God being with you and walking with you. It was about suffering, because actually as a Christian, you should know that Psalms is a lot about the suffering servant, but I've never heard anyone claim that Psalms says that if you know the earth is flat, you're suddenly getting better. Like what? Seek truth, speak truth. Was Rachel 5-0? Let's get it in here. And Randy, all the people that were getting, and then, oh my God, we tricked them back into the gaslighted globe. How? By debating them? By making sure they were not listening to one source, but many. And then the gaslighting broke. I'm sorry, lady. If anything, I swear I've just proven. Oh, sorry, you're not supposed to swear. Sorry, I'm not taking an oath. As
it's a figure of speech.
Language.
It's okay.
Not common language. I'm not taking an oath. That's what I meant. I don't believe in it. Sorry, I'm not a believer. You're going to have to forgive me. But look, I think I can stop and say, I think I've proven what I've promised. I've given you a good story, and I don't know where your derpometer is, but good whatever. It was derpy. 16 minutes of like, wow. Everyone is a relativist. Come on, people, you're all relativists. You never knew that. She says so. Everyone, there's no truth. Like 1 + 1. Oh, and every conversation, too. Tell me, she claims every conversation you've ever had on anything, including with a flirt, has always ended with, listen to this, your truth and my truth, and that's what it is like. And why? Because you don't believe in a flat earth. Is that her experience? Because she actually believes that. So who told her that? How that cannot possibly be true unless there was a gaslighter called a Papa Flurf. And maybe, and I'm not going to name names now because I don't want to, there are certain laws in certain countries that you're allowed to say, and another mitzvah. Listen to this. Jews are forbidden for various forms of lashon hara, which sort of means the evil tongue, but basically things that should not be said in public. For instance, I am not supposed to compliment Tune next to people who might not like him by mistake. And then they'll gossip. And although I've been complimenting him, have I? Or perhaps I've created evil gossip. So they have like Judaism says this is a community. Judaism is a community religion. Oh God, words, you know English. Because I can't actually, I was just switch to this accent, and I do swear to God that I can't speak this language. And I will get through this evening without spill. Anyway, I've told you who taught me too. It was actually, I grew up watching shows about the New Testament without actually getting ever who that Jesus guy is, or what Christianity is. I only realized that like 20 years later, but I started learning from Christianity. So let's get it through. So, Tune, have I at least done something to prove my case that the title, I went to the derpiest lecture ever, and I've brought you a possible explanation, and perhaps it's only her very personal interpretation of what gaslighting is. Because I actually haven't yet found someone else who described it exactly like that.
Yeah, it's opposite.
As like indoctrination. Yet, Tune, could it be possible that she's being indoctrinated, has been, like she claims, indoctrinating herself now ever since, and is indoctrinating others while they're reinforcing each other like agreed. And she has just given me one possible way. And from here on, we can talk about mechanisms from psychology that could be involved here, like positive reinforcement, or maybe if you've heard of, what do you call that? Festinger, someone help me, Leon Festinger, cognitive dissonance, if you've heard the term, is involved.
Yep.
And why it is a very bad idea to be in any kind of relationship where Tune is the ultimate authority to which I must surrender ever at any given moment. And I'm not talking about a priest. I'm talking about someone who controls every little thought, and you have no idea everyone else is a potential liar because they've been lying your entire life. You can now only trust this person. If you trust a certain narcissist, you know who I mean? Someone you think is a narcissist. Let's not name names. Lashon hara. I'm supposed to be Jewish. Do you know a certain narcissist who has repeated and indoctrinated, I'm a genius, I'm a genius, I'm a genius, I know math, like his fucking, like his fucking something, hypnotizing people by reinforcing a message. Did someone drone on for 200 proofs, which are not 200 or proofs or new, but he has a droning voice. And he even managed to convince one Israeli dit that physics actually says the universe is a big mess, and that's still hypnotizing. In fact, perhaps his motive, like one has narcissism as a motive who wants attention, perhaps his real purpose is to sell you anti-Semitism, but only after you've bought into everybody's been lying, I'm telling the truth, and now I will show you who was always behind the curtain, and it's not the real Wizard of Oz, it's the Jews. So maybe that would be a motive.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Tune. I'm really dying to shut up.
Was this lady Jewish?
Of course she is.
And does she think that the Jews are behind it all?
Well, that's just it. She has to have a they, or she can start believing that there are actually conspiracies. Nuriel would also know. Perhaps you have heard Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, Rihal, come on, dude. Kozarim. Have you ever heard of Kozar or or the Book of Kozar, and don't ask me what it's called in English, because I would not know. And it's by Rihal, which is actually Rabbi Yehuda Halevi. And this is one of the oldest conspiracies about Ashkenazi Jews, like Nuriel and myself, Jews that come from Europe. And because there's a book describing the kingdom of Kozar, which is somewhere like in the Caucasus mountain. How would I say that? Caucasus? How would you say that in Kavkaz? Like the Caucasians.
Okay.
The mountains, like in Russia. What do you call them? People, somebody has to know a name. This guy does not know anything in languages. Come on, we're trying to... Okay, never mind. There are mountains. That's where Georgians live. Where Uzbekistan is. Come on, in Kavkaz. People know. Anyway, that's where you're called Caucasian. Tune.
Oh, Caucasus Mountains.
Caucasus Mountains, yes, okay. Thank you. Kavkaz, Caucasus. There we are. Kavkaz, Caucasus. See, you knew. I knew you knew. But I know the Hebrew word Kavkaz, and it's actually the same thing. So why did I go there? Remind me, what were we talking about? Help me.
Whether or not she was a Jew, and if she thought the Jews were behind it all.
Exactly. So there's a claim that about there, I think, but again, Nuriel knows better. There was a kingdom, and the king had a dream, and then all kinds of people came and interpreted it, and he found the Jewish interpretation so amazing. He sat down with the rabbi who gave him that interpretation and said, "Explain to me, who are these Jews that you come from? What is your wisdom?" And basically, that book describes how he decided by decree to turn his entire kingdom by decree into Jews, which is actually a very odd thing, and I'm not going to get into, but it's technically not possible. It shouldn't have happened. Technically, it's very weird. So there's an old conspiracy that I'm not actually a Jew, and neither is Nuriel. We are actually Kozarim, and we have infiltrated. We are the evil Jews, and there are the good Jews. So you can still sort of be a half anti-Semite by making me the fake Jew. So I'm like the lizard person Jew because I can turn back into a Kozar. And ever since my age, whether I come from Israel originally or not, is completely out of, never mind. And it's an anti-Semitic conspiracy anyway, because then you can say, and here's the fake Jew, so I don't care, even though I'm a Catholic, and I'm not supposed to hurt Jews, because the Catholics were not supposed to actually harm a Jewish person, but this is a fake Jew, so there you go. And then I can hurt him, and all kinds of, and now Jews are repeating it. Other Jews are saying that I come from Kozar, so I'm evil Jew. And then I can spread gaslighting like the Globe and still you can still have David Weiss. You can still be Austin Whitsitt. What was that? Narcissism. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, there was another motive. Anti-Semitism. And yet David Weiss is there.
So is David Weiss do you know his heritage or anything?
Exactly, I have no idea, but Weiss, that's German for white, dear. And you don't get a German name if you're not Ashkenazi, because that's Europe.
Okay.
So he should be an evil fake Jew, according to the same stupid anti-Semitic conspiracies. Yet he's accepted in their circles. I don't get it. The bad guy. But and what if she's right about the explanation, but she's actually calling out somebody abused me, and I let it happen. And I let somebody into my mind, and he got me to believe in him. And I'm standing here, and I'm so confused. They think I've been getting better, and you're a sheep tune. And that's how confused and miserable I am, and this will not end. Because she says it involves pain. It involves admitting a mistake. Waking up to reality. What? You're unemployed? Your fiance's gone. You have to wake up to that, and you lost that. Why? Because you wanted to believe the earth is flat, or you're a moron, and you have to pay all this to wake up from whoever Perhaps she was gaslighted. She's Israeli. Maybe her Papa Flirt is Matan Gorodish. And I'm not saying he abused her. I'm saying she's suggesting a model. Now, what do you want to talk about, Toon? Will we still have time, or are we done? Because I'm getting hot. I'm dying for some nicotine. And I could stay on, just move to my phone. And then I can also go get nicotine, and we're still good to go. I still have time. I'm actually on sick days. So tell me, do you have any questions from the audience? Would you like me to give an example of gaslighting from my life? Like when I joined the cult by mistake, that happened. Seriously.
Let me read
a
read a few things. Harnold, I think, speaking to the woman, says, "Show me on the doll where the space hurt you."
The space that doesn't exist. There is no space model. It was abuse, and he touched her, and yet it never existed. But yet it was gaslighted into her by maybe what? Mommy? And you know what happened when we were watching? I'm sorry, he reminded me. Somebody said, wait, you know what? She says you can't feel the spin, right? They always say that. And it's just because, right? And he says, oh, I remember when I was driving down the road with my niece, and she asked, hey, how come we can't feel the spin? And we were all alone, me and my niece, in the car, and I explained it to her about, you know, the vestibulary system, right? That's what you call it. I learned the name for you, I think, the vestibulary system. But wait a minute. I said, wait a minute. I stopped the lecture. You know, you're in a car with a child who depends on you for her, and you gaslighted her into believing truth. Oh no. So actually, he was alone with a little person, but using the same ideas of maybe indoctrination to teach her something true. And maybe you should trust adults when you're a child. But first, make sure that the adult isn't dangerous for a child to stay with, and will not be telling them the earth is flat. Mister, who was it? Who also believes in an Iron Age? Some sleeping warrior dude who said he was going to talk to kids on TikTok?
Yeah.
And what, gaslight them like this lady claims into believing something? I'm sorry, did I just hear that correctly? And we were abused soon, and he's gonna unabuse. Am I getting this right yet, or are they seeing everything that backwards? And that's the entire explanation. What do you think? Do I have an explanation?
I think so.
Okay, so one problem. For an explanation to be scientific, it has to have predictions and not only explain as much of the existing data. You know, it has to be, I have to show that I haven't been contradicted by something, or perhaps in social sciences, unlike maybe physics, that's a bit different. One phenomenon might have more than one explanation. It might have 5 different ones coming up to 100% complete explanation, yet not from any one perspective. You have to combine all. Or the famous sufficient reason, right? And necessary reason. So perhaps the gaslighting is sufficient as an explanation, but not necessary, or necessary, but you also need to be ignorant, have conspirative thinking. Like I said, maybe you're already addicted to something. Maybe you're already somewhere in your life, or you're already prepared. Like you're seeking a new religion, and Eric Dubay comes on with, I'll tell you the truth. And you change God for this idol. Do you know he actually said Hitler was really, really nominated for the Peace Award?
Yeah, I don't know if he said that, but I know that Dubay has said that he likes him.
So in his blog, okay, I'll ask you a real question. And see about gaslighting, telling you something so close to the truth, which is the complete lie. Look at this. He claims for real that Hitler, how dare you say that Adolf, I'm sorry if I keep saying that name. Anyway, that famous Austrian guy, before we're completely demonetized to oblivion, it's in the middle. Let's hope YouTube never finds that. By the way, it's my first time on YouTube, people. I hope at least you haven't fallen asleep like I did, and that's why we were late, because I had to go through Kevin to get here. So at least I have a good excuse for falling asleep. I hope I have a good excuse for staying awake. But hey, first time on YouTube. Anyway, what was they asking? Because I do have ADHD and I keep forgetting. So would you like to see what? Would you like to hear a story of how I had?
Somebody asked for a short explanation of when you were in a cult.
Okay, so basically, Judaism has this kind of like mysticism thing. I'm not getting into it. Very complicated. Some people say it was recently invented, like as far as Judaism goes, recently. Or maybe it's actually from Mount Sinai. And some people say there wasn't a Mount Sinai for it to be from. So we're not going to get into it. But basically, it's called like received wisdom without using the Hebrew word, which everyone's heard. I'm not going to go into that. But basically, it's like I received this. And in like use quote sources in science, right? Generally, and Nuriel, again, he's the Jewish guy, but Jews usually, their sources in Judaism, in halakha, or laws, are I have it, I received, kibalti, which is received from my father's teacher, through my father and my father to me. But that's the original, and he said this. So you can trust me. It's Kabbalah. It came down from him. And that's not mysticism. That's just a Jewish way of speaking when saying this is how Judaism should be practiced. And I fell into like this weird little culty thing where we were taught this Jewish mysticism. I mentioned a very specific way of it. I don't think it was dangerous, but you did have to pay quite a bit of money, like tithing, but to this group and not to a synagogue maybe. And you also had to, volunteer and spread their books because it's wisdom and you have to spread it. And also, first of all, as soon as you came in, they got you on a stage in front of a mic to tell the audience what tune. What does everything start with? I joined this particular cult on so-and-so, and my life has been improving, and everyone went for me. Yay! Because that is when, and now I've been selling books, but I've been volunteering, and they're not books, they're wisdom. Now, I've been there for 2 weeks. Have I read all the books? No, but everyone says that. So I'm copying their behavior and saying what they're saying, and everybody goes, "Yay, he's selling the books. Keep selling the wisdom." And suddenly, you're actually reinforcing things you've heard from others.
Yeah.
But have you experienced them? Or are you, without noticing, perhaps in a way like what she calls, again, forget what's true, gaslighting yourself with beliefs you've heard from others, and perhaps you don't actually know what you're saying, what you're committing to, but you're already reinforcing a message and already learning to trust the guru, or maybe just more or less nice old man with some very good ideas, but some perhaps very bad ones. And perhaps we shouldn't make even, tune. I bet you don't ask your priest, right? Or it's a priest, right? At your church.
We say pastor.
A pastor.
Yeah.
A pastor. Thank you. I don't know. I know there are various words. I didn't know if you had what you had. So sorry for getting that wrong. A pastor.
Sorry.
Would you go to him with your car and ask what to do with your car? Would you perhaps ask him where you should get your job, where you should live, and what your career should be? Would you ask?
Not generally,
what
no.
Would you say? Well, the Hasidic ultra-Orthodox Jews have Chassid means something like follows a guru. Basically, it's kind of saying the same thing, but in a Jewish way. And again, Nuriel, Hebrew, not right now, but it's Chassid. And that means you follow someone's way. And Chesed can mean grace, as in your grace, and also receiving your rabbi's grace, or God's grace, or anything. So Chassid, and they actually do go to their rabbi to this day, their chief rabbi. They call him our Lord and teacher and rabbi, in one word, Admor. And he tells them, even if he's 90 years old and half senile, and his grandson is translating, and who knows what he said, but it's where you have to live. That's where you're going to work. Oh, you wanted an apartment? That's a good apartment. Everything. Everything. I asked someone, why are you studying science from this Admor? Does he know science? And if you need your car fixed, where do you go? And I thought he would say a mechanic. And he said, I go to the Admor and I say my car is broken. And if I need a mechanic, he'll tell me. And it's like, wait a minute, what? I'm not trying to diss anyone. This is my own religion. These are the ultra-Orthodox. Now think, do you want to live like that? Actually, as a child, like she says, well, it kind of means that you're also, are you sure who you're a slave to? Because you are. And it might be Admor, who really, really is the wisest guy on earth and has received the Lord's own blessing, or it's Eric Dubay, or maybe it's Austin Whitsitt, or maybe you're now thinking other truth comes out of who? Caleb speaks the truth. And has God in you so know everything that you now believe in heliosexuals. And I have a degree in psychology, and I actually happen to know the DSM. And even though we use the ICD, like the WHO's book, and not the American book, which is the DSM, I have at university for my BA, where I don't know how to diagnose, and I'm not a psychologist. I just have a general understanding of the entire field, and have been equipped with scientific thinking and the scientific method. And that's why I know that no matter how good my explanation is, if you cannot debunk it or disprove it, then it's not science at all, no matter how good. You can't disprove it, right? You can't falsify it. I have not presented a scientific explanation. So first I will need to see if there's a falsification, and convincing and showing how everything fits. That's nice. A prediction. Let's predict something that hasn't happened yet with this gaslighting explanation. But it does fit the Papa Flurf. It does fit the speech of, this is when we've all heard it, right? You've heard every debate.
Yeah.
This is when I discovered the truth. So it does fit the data. And hey, if you want to talk about a mechanism such as, say, cognitive dissonance, we could, like how this became you, and now if you let go, well, it's easier to just, hey, wait a minute, this video actually says Tony's wrong. And if I watch this video and just believe what it says, even though it's really stupid and not Tune, I get to use my little app and trust that nice Jewish guy who sold me. And how do you say that too? Let me try. I'm not that good of, but isn't you, I've heard you say, well, sweet baby Jesus in the manger. And I've heard you say that about some dumb flat earther or other, but basically, the theory of cognitive dissonance by Leon Festinger says it's easier to say, no, Tune is lying, and I can stay in my little cult and get more claps for being an utter ignorant moron. And Tune is the actual moron because he went to that horrible place school. And all I have to do is ignore him, and just believe one more video. And that's how cognitive dissonance would actually work with this model, which have brought us. But again, that's not enough. I don't have to keep finding out how I'm right. Somebody has to sit down and try to see how I am wrong and fail. And until that happens, this is just an evening. We've left the lecture. 2 questions from the audience. You, more Hebrew. Do you want Hebrew words? Muriel. Do you want to work on that one?
Yeah, let's work on that.
Let's do János. Okay, listen, I don't speak Hungarian, but dude, my family comes from Hungary. Plus, Muriel's family comes from Hungary. And I think it's János Tokox, I think. And he's probably gonna kill me too, but good. Oh, dude, stop butchering the guy's name.
I think I got his name Janusz correct.
It's not Janusz. It's definitely
it's not.
It has never been Janusz. No, because there's no shit. Janusz just isn't. It's not Hungarian. The sound is not there. So it has never been Janusz, and it will never be because there is no Osh. So there you go.
Okay.
But
how do I say Nuriel?
Okay, first of all, Hebrew only has like Spanish. Think of Spanish. Spanish doesn't have anything except. Listen. You've heard it in language. It doesn't have your I have a and as opposed to car, and they're both the letter A. No. Hebrew and Spanish have a. E, O, U. Done, basically. And there's no O, and there's no U, and there's no E, and none of those weird stuff you people like to do. And there's no 3 types of E. There's no short, like in it, and then as in beach, and then as in think about a woman coming into this is for real. Like a tourist, what do you call it? Oh, for God's sake, they take you to coast to coast. Help me out here. What do you call them? You're in New York, you want to get to coast to coast. Where do you go?
What?
What's the word, dude? You're in
on
New
a
York
tour?
Something, you want to drive coast to coast. Something. Where do you get to drive? The bus. Who tells you? Tour guide. A tour guide, is that a good job? Is
Sure.
that a good word?
Sure.
So I'm floundering for an American term. And it's 9 a.m. to help a guy out. I'm drowning for a word for a tour guide. Really? Travel agency. There, it's a travel agency. Okay. Tune. Seriously, my English. Anyway, an Israeli mother comes into a travel agency in New York, and basically she wants to go to California. And well, she doesn't exactly say coast to coast. It's more something like, I can't repeat it, but she says something with a female dog to another female dog, because A, she does not have a different word for coast or beach, because both are chof. There's one word, chof. Why do you need 2? Why is it beach where you bathe, but it's a coast when you drive there? Are you kidding me? And also, she does not differentiate between E and A. So beach and something else sound exactly the same, and that's how a travel agency, is standing there. You ask for what now? And if somebody didn't get that, I'm sorry, a which to which, okay? She wanted a trip, which to which, and she thought that meant coast to coast. That's just it. So, A, E, O, U. That's Hebrew. And dude, if you make Nuriel, that's not Hebrew. That's a different language. It can only be listed. It has to be Nu, Ri, El. And those are the only sounds. You cannot have the new. That's it. Done. We don't have those.
Okay, let me try.
Nu. Double O. Nu.
Nu.
Yes.
Ri. El.
Like do an R-E. Nu. Ri.
Nu. Ri.
Okay, and I'll slide the R. You don't have to get the R right, because I don't get the R right in my own language. But I can say Craig. which I think is better than how Craig can say Craig. I can get closer with that Craig. I somehow suspect I can do a better Scottish R than FTFE, but never mind.
All right.
And then L, not L, not O, L.
L.
Nu, ri, L.
Nu, ri, L.
Close, very close, much better than before. And please note, Americans say L, but we say lamed, la, and not L. Almost all of our sounds are harsher. So we say b and p and la. Not these, I'm exaggerating, but we don't have an L. We don't say L, we say L. With a strong L. Very obvious that it's there, and we don't do that round thing you do. But those are, so now I know how to say nu, ri, L. And by the way, I don't know if you told you, but it means something like, I am God's light, or perhaps God is my light or my fire, because nur in Aramaic is sort of like fire, and also firework is zikukin di, nur for fire, because it's fireworks, and nuri is my fire, and El is God, the Lord, nuri El. But technically it's nuri El. That's the etymology. And nuri El, and that's your friend. And more or less the etymology of his name with par. And hey, he can explain exactly how that works. And it's not Janosch, because I don't speak Hungarian. But it can either be something like Janosch. Then you have long A or short A. Like, say a very long A, like double A in English, you know what I mean? And like a very tiny, like all. Something like a very tiny all, but like in all, and not in over. So it could be Janosch or Janosch. That's a possibility. Or maybe it's Janosch. Two long sounds. But you're Janosch. I'm sorry, Toon. You're speaking American. God help you. In every possible language, you're still speaking American.
All right. He's in the chat. It does not end with a whoosh. Janosch?
What's an S or an SZ at the end?
SH.
Because, no, I'm sorry. But S in Hungarian is actually SH, and SZ is what you think of S. So, and I know Janos Korczak, who was a famous Jewish person, but I'm not sure he pronounced it in the original language. And he saved children. No, he wasn't Jewish, sorry. He saved children. That's the point. I'm not going to say anything else. It's very late. But Janos Korczak is a very famous person in Israel. And there's a school after him. So the name Janos is very famous in Israel.
Okay, all right. Hold on. Your video froze for some reason.
Oh, it has. Wait. Why?
I don't know.
Hey, what have I done?
I can hear you, but I don't see you.
I'm not seeing anything. Like everything's okay. Wait, I'm moving to my phone. If I can't get on in 1 second, okay? Something like.
Okay.
All of my visuals are gone. I'm trying to save this. Never mind. Can you kick me from the call? And I'm just calling you on the same link, right, from my phone?
Yeah.
Did that work?
Yep.
Okay, so kick me, and I'll follow your Discord again. Out.
All right, hold on.
No, kick me before I try again.
There we go. All right. I'll read a couple things here while he's working out that. Janosch. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch the correction. Says, good morning. Was the printing successful? I did not get a chance to print. I'm hopefully doing it tomorrow.
Okay, I'm here, right?
Yes.
Okay, I've just switched devices because I don't know what happened. The computer crashed in a way that even so far, F4, which is how we say Alt F4, because we can't say Alt, we can only say Alt. And we don't have an F, we have an F. Even Alt F4 is not working. So I have to, like, I don't know, crash it down, go to sleep. Beautiful little laptop, you've done your thing, and I'll stay on the phone.
All right, let me get through a few things, and then it's getting late. So,
and speaking of repetition, does anyone actually repeat the exact same opening, reinforcing the exact same message? If it's gaslighting, if the model is true, and he calls it housekeeping, and maybe that's for money too, like that nice Jewish boy I love so much. So do we have faces and the motives, and do we have all the pop-up flips who might be gaslighters? Do your thing, Toon. And thanks for having me. It's been an honor. Thank you so much.
Monkey Cat Pat Pat says, how do I super chat? I want to say hi. Turns out Monkey Cat Pat Pat figured out a super chat. Cygnus Step says it's pronounced Guy Lafleur. Toon, you hockey illiterate, shame on you for living in Minnesota. Bobby Smith, first overall draft pick.
That's from Kevin.
1978.
That's from that live. Go on, read. I'm amazed. Go on, go, run. You didn't finish. You're not gonna get to Antarctica. Super chats, Toon. Move. And you're ruining the comic timing. You've destroyed half. Comic timing, Toon. You have to realize that. Half of these super chats, nobody knows what they're about.
I know.
They've been speaking bad English with a horrible accent. and they don't know. Kevin, who is that? They're trying to forget.
I know. It's best forgotten. Cygnus Step says, about time you make me a mod, Toon. By the way, Dino Ciccarelli scored 608 goals. There we go. Albino Bad.
Hockey. Now you know something about hockey. I think that was the point.
More hockey, yes.
Maybe somebody was giving you a hockey fact when you didn't know hockey.
Well, yeah, I don't know much about hockey.
So maybe that was a hockey fact, but we'll never know because somebody's reading the super chats now and not then. But you go on, and we'll never have the context. So I have no idea, but I'm guessing hockey.
Yes.
I have no. If that person is still here, Tag Toon. Was that a hockey fact?
It was. I know it was.
So I'm a prophet. I had no idea. I think I was asleep during this hockey thing or not around, but I just figured that out. So I'm not the stupidest person around. Go on.
All right. Albino Bad Guy says, Psalm 2024, some people in my village tie on a rock. Do you remember Psalm? From Africa?
Oh, Sam, S-O-M. That lovely, Victoria's boyfriend. Is that her name, Victoria?
Something like that, yeah.
His wife from the chat.
Yeah,
yes,
but people in his village would tie a rock onto their thingling so that it would get bigger.
Oh yes.
But not him, because his was already big enough, he said.
Well, let's say it got some. What bigger?
It's Brianna. Brianna was his.
Brianna, not Victoria.
Yes.
Brianna, I remembered your name. What wrong?
Then we've got Cygnus Step says, our Father in heaven, smile down upon your son who's busy with his money games or his women and his gun. Oh, Jesus, save me.
See, no context. Moving on. We have no idea. No idea. Lost.
That's the last one there.
We will never get that joke back, Toon. That's it. Humanity has lost that joke.
That's it.
And you're falling asleep.
Yes.
That's it. We don't have any more super chats.
That's the last one.
Okay, guys, I hope at least I haven't bored you to death. Look, Toon is falling asleep. I've exhausted him. And if anyone's wondering, no, I actually never shut up. I'm famous for never shutting up. However, I did see something about more gaslighting, and technically I'm also bipolar. And like talking about stuff from Judaism or sometimes mentioning that I'm gay, I always say I have a certain, let's say, thing I have to cope with. Like Tune, you did under your video descriptions, you also have people who cope with some form of condition which imposes difficulties on them, whatever you call it. And in Israel, by the way, you know what we call these people? What we call people like me? I actually don't know the term, the cognate, I think, in English. But here we say mitmoded nefesh, which means coping with the mind, coping with the mental. Because it's not about being sick. It's about living with something. You have to keep, taking medicine and eating well, or it might actually happen, but you're still normal so long as you keep to a certain routine, and you might have a normal life, but you have to cope with it. And why did I remember this? What were we talking about? And maybe call this?
I don't know, but it was a song that one that I read there just now was a song by Clapton.
Okay, I'm not familiar with the song, but it was some. Oh yeah. So I talked about another gaslighting. Somebody might have misdiagnosed. You've noticed that I've been talking a lot, and that could be my normal ADHD and my normal personality. But when I have a slight bipolar seizure, let's say, I'm not sure, I can't find the word in English right now. Let's not go into that. I might be speaking more than usual. And someone misdiagnosed me, or might have, maybe we will never know, and said I was having a very mild seizure of what I have, and actually I went into terror and anxiety, and I was stricken with horror for 2 weeks that I am again going to have what is known as a psychotic break, which I've had part of my life. Twice it happened before. So for me, it's really scary. And this whole idea of they'll move you to that place where they don't like you. And on the spot, without thinking, I gave that person utter control of my life. And just like in a movie, he told everybody I was getting well. He told me, you stay here and rest. And then I'm not going to use any other words that are more, but basically, as I was supposed to be resting and he had all the power and was supposedly helping me, he kind of yelled at me nonstop at the top of his lungs for 6 days while claiming it was his right as a caretaker. And that's not exactly how you help someone. Now, I can't say that he technically gaslighted me in the actual original meaning, but, and not her twisted meaning. I'm saying, did he change my reality on purpose? Did he make me dependent on him, like in the movie, to drive me crazy? Probably not. But I immediately gave him that power because perhaps completely unintentionally, he triggered my anxiety of having a psychosis by saying, I've seen you in a mild situation. So that's my other time where maybe there was some sort of unintentional form of gaslighting in its more original sense. And that's hard because getting yelled at for 6 days and then the person disappears for another 6 and then says, no way, I've never yelled at you. I can't actually recall what happened. And you're saying, if I wasn't gaslighted before, I certainly am being gaslighted now. And then you start to say, okay, I want to get away from this. So perhaps I've also been gaslighted by someone who promised he would take care of me. I still can't say. But it's one explanation, again. So maybe twice. And perhaps what I've learned is, like I said, don't let anyone control you, okay? Not a human being anyway, and not a book, because that might, someday he might take advantage of you even unintentionally. And you might find yourself doing something that hurts you or someone else, and you just, you didn't realize what you were doing because you trusted the wrong person or he blew it. So just don't trust anyone that way, huh? Probably. Gaslighting or not. Are we done here, or what? Are you going to Antarctica, my friend? You tell me.
One more
I'm
question
here.
from Beast Militia is wondering if you still have a place for him to stay.
Of course, yes, my Jewish brother, Beast Militia. Yes. Regards. Hello. Am Israel Chai. Never mind.
Steve from Wormhaven gifted 5 memberships and then said, "These challenges are something I can relate to, which I'm grateful for. I wish you the best with these battles."
Oh, thank you so much. And actually, while nobody gets an award other than living a life without seeing certain places that you don't want to, but they are not fake. So they are not flurf challenges, which are always fake. And by the way, rule number 3. Tell me rule number 3 doesn't fit the model too. Okay, rules number 1 and 2 maybe not, but it's rule number 4, not just different forms of who was the original gaslighter and not models. Like which particular flavor of lies did you?
You're cutting out a little bit walking around. Uh-oh.
What do you believe in? Okay, I had to move away from the Wi-Fi because
okay.
But it will stop the video first, but I'm not yet.
Uh-oh. There's 2 of me now.
I'll be right back.
All right. Well, this has been interesting to a little bit of to see this response he had. A pretty serious response to the claims by this person. So I asked New Real, but he didn't get the message yet. But the source to this, some people are asking, can we get the source to the video? Of course, it's all in Hebrew. So if you don't know Hebrew, it'll be a little bit of a challenge. But if we can get the original video, that'd be great. And then people at least can go watch and see what this is about, and maybe have a auto translator so they know what it was saying, get a better idea for it. And is he back? I heard a little clip, just a little bit of a clip. Anyway, I see Albino Bad Guy says that I'm on a gifted membership right now, but thought it was time I should go full monthly.
Okay,
You back?
I haven't left you.
Okay.
No, I haven't left you ever, but I'm running to where the poison I've just purposed. Yofi, Meny. Okay, Meny, אחרי השידור הזה תמות מבושה. סליחה. I was saying something to someone who doesn't exist, and I'm embarrassing myself. I actually have English. I've studied English. I know this language, and I'm very embarrassed. I'm doing poorly. I'm not pleased. And when I listen to this and I hear the horrible butchering I've made of this evening with the English language, I will, morning, whatever it is. By the way, it's morning. People, this is where I live. This is the main lawn. I'm sorry, I can't tell you exact place because, let's say when you talk about people's religion, they kind of think that sending you DMs like, and would you like a lead pipe halfway through your skull is somehow sensible. And I'm not complaining, but I just say, look, I'd rather not have them know where I live. Like, sounds like a smart decision on my part.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe they never meant anything but hello. Maybe they come from a culture where that's a very, maybe it's a compliment. Maybe it means maybe it's jewelry or something that they want to put in my skull. But let's not have them know where I live.
Yeah.
But it is morning, and this is Israeli Standard Time. So people, this is where the Torah was given, and all religions were born, so this is the actual time. And wherever you are is wrong time. Sorry. Right time. Can't help you.
All right.
It's God's own time zone.
I
didn't say that.
Can't argue that, can you?
Yep. And it's I didn't say it. Hey, I don't even, I just following the rules.
Let's see. Plastina the First says, I'm watching your last debate on TV while listening to this on my phone, and wow, Q-Balla plus this guy firing off at the same time. Had to log this into my ADHD journal. New trigger unlocked.
Okay, I'm here. Okay. I somehow went to Wi-Fi and haven't been with you for the last 2 minutes or so.
All right.
I have no idea what happened.
Somebody wants to know if you have a YouTube channel.
I do some TikTok, and everything is in Hebrew, and then I sometimes, there was a time when I was uploading stuff, and now I'm reconsidering. I'm sorry. And I do contents in Hebrew. But if anyone's interested in Hebrew content, then my next project, there's something called Stonewall. If anyone knows what Stonewall is, Israelis don't actually know what Stonewall is. And then they see something called pride, and they think that's because you're somehow proud of using various body organs in various ways. And I'm pretty sure pride is based on riots in New York. So somewhere between the Stonewall riots and the stuff people spew, which they were supposed to be spewing out of a different hole, I decided to do a version in Hebrew on TikTok of that story, which is actually not well known in Israel at all. People don't know where pride comes from, where the parade comes from. So I'm going to tell the story on TikTok in Hebrew, and let's see what happens.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, as you identified, I'm pretty tired, and I got a bunch more going.
Where are you going, dude? Come on, plug.
I'm going to Antarctica. In 8 days, we'll be on the ice because it's after midnight here.
Oh, that's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Want me to leave you with a sentence? Like, look at this. A sentence in Hebrew, and then we're gone. Then we're out for the night.
Okay.
You choose you prepare your outro. Look, Nuriel in the crowd. You know all the Israelis abroad. If you're listening, because I've linked this to many of my friends. If they're still with us, לא מודדים את הצורה של הרצפה, which means thou shalt not. I'm being dramatic on purpose because there's no thou in Hebrew, but thou shalt not measure the shape of thine floor, לפי האורות על התקרה, according to the lights on thy ceiling, which is Hebrew flirt for you can't measure the shape of the earth by looking at the stars. And they all repeat this really, like, seriously, lights in the ceiling. So that's like me saying, Tune, you believe in talking to a ceiling, right? That's Christianity. That's when you sit in a room, you sometimes talk to the ceiling, or you do it in the closet. I heard you talk to the closet ceiling, and then stuff happens, right? And that's your religion, right, Tune? Yeah, sure, why not? Anyway, לא משתמשים, לא מודדים את הצורה של הרצפה על פי האורות על התקרה. And if you say that enough times, you'll be a flirt. And then, who knows, you may never get back to Kansas. So don't. Just don't. Dude, sign us off. Put some music on. I never shut up. Everyone knows that.
All right.
That's Nuriel. I never shut up.
It's Christmas music again, everybody. Thank you very much.
What
Yes.
are we getting? Emmanuel? Which
Emmanuel.
one?
It's
I love your
Emmanuel.
music.
It's Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, I know your music. You
Yeah.
know how much I love your channel. I know it's Christmas music you put on every year, too.
Yeah.
You're a great guy. I told you. You're a mensch or intelligent. There are many ways of describing you. You're a great person. Go on. Philosophy.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
And a Merry Christmas to all.